Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. We got the XRP Ledger new proposal, Elon Musk and Twitter, Craig DeWitt from Ripple product on Coinbase listings, Bank of Japan CBDC news. We got that silly lawsuit. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the real lawsuit, the SEC versus Ripple. Are they in settlement talks right now? We're going to hear from a legal analyst. And how about this? We're going to hear from a technical analyst says we could be looking and staring down the barrel of a 298% gain in breakout from XRP. He's going to show you. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at Dig Perspectives at the top of the screen. Everything that we're talking about here today, it's $1.9 trillion market cap for crypto this morning. Good morning, everybody. It's April 14th, 2022. 2.28% is what we're up this morning on the cryptocurrency market cap right now. Bitcoin back over 40,900 plus. Ethereum just over 3,000, and at the number 6 spot right now at 72 cents for XRP. Let's take a look at the range of price very quickly here. It is 71 cents on the bottom and 70 cents on the top. We'll keep an eye on it, and we will hear from the technical analyst today. Says we could be looking at the new all-time high for XRP very soon with a 298% breakout. We'll take a look at that before we get out of here today. But first, let's look at this. Link2 right now is running another special, ladies and gentlemen. Get $1,500 worth of XRP or 2,000 Link2 bucks if you invest in any two products in the next 24 hours. And it doesn't matter whether you wire the money in or use your Uphold wallet. That's what's going on right now at Link2, ladies and gentlemen. They're not playing around. These people are getting it done, and you better not mess around because you know at some point this stuff makes some kind of an exit off the platform, and if you're going to get it, you better get it before it's gone. Link underneath the video. Now let's take a look at this because we're 479 days into the American crypto innovation under siege, ladies and gentlemen, and it will end at some point. There's no question. But right now we got some news here, and it's the XRP Ledger proposes tokens to be used in payment channels. And basically what this is, and I'm not going to read the whole article to you so you can breathe a sigh of relief, but it is very cool because they're expanding the opportunity for other coin issuers on the platform to be able to escrow and issue their tokens for payments in these payment channels. It's extremely exciting, the things that are happening. Also, don't forget about the XLS-20 for NFTs to be launched off of the ledger as well. Lots of exciting stuff happening, and this is too, and I'm going to give you just the first few seconds of this because Elon Musk now is making an offer to buy Twitter. This guy's got some things planned for Twitter coming, and it sounds like the shareholders won't be able to say no. Price is currently at 51 bucks. He's making an offer for just over $54 a share. Take a quick listen to this.
And by the way, if they do agree, he'll probably fire them all.
Right. So what do you make of it, Gene? Just what are your thoughts on what Elon wants here?
Well, initial reaction, I think it probably happens. I think that management, I agree, is in a tight spot here. Essentially, he can force the hand. It's not just about his offer, his $54 an offer, which is down 30% from where the stock was 6 months ago. It's not just about that. It's about his base of people he can activate to have a bigger impact on Twitter. He can have an influence in terms of the outcome. 80 million Twitter subscribers. There's 215 million total monthly Twitter subscribers. So you're talking about, what is that? One in four he's got influence on. And so I think that this probably does happen. There could be some room where he inches that bid a little bit higher, but this is not a competitive bidding situation either. And so that's probably a lower probability. So first and foremost, this is the 20% category that I put 20% probability that this would happen. So this was the lower probability option. It did hit. And I think that he is probably going to get control of Twitter here, probably right around that price. And I think investors should largely welcome that.
So it's looking like Elon's probably going to win that offer because it's not a competitive offer. It's just him saying, hey, I'm looking to buy the shares right now at $54 and give everybody a hell of a profit right here. And then take Twitter where? Probably to the next really growth stage that it needs to go to, right? Maybe this is incorporating the use of cryptocurrencies. They talk about later in this particular sound clip here where they talk about it maybe going to a subscription base, $1 per person. I wouldn't have a problem with that as long as you stop shadow banning people and then blocking people for their political views, whether they be right, left, in the middle, whatever. Let people say what they need to say, right? Don't be such a weak person that you can't hear someone else's different opinion. That's what I'd like to see out of every social media platform, but I digress. Nevertheless, what we are seeing is more and more investment taking place, and I'm excited to see what Elon Musk does. But here we see Ashton Kutcher, Gwyneth Paltrow, Justin Bieber, and Snoop Dogg are among Moonpay's strategic investors who have brought the company's valuation to $3.4 billion, bringing $87 million in crypto payment startup. How about that? I think the writing's on the wall, everyone, where we're going here. And I think Craig DeWitt from Ripple Product here is trying to really ask Coinbase, what are they doing? Interesting asset selection from Coinbase here. Not familiar with many of these, but basically he's reminding them to say that, you know, there are crypto assets in the top 10 you could list or relist before looking at micro caps. And I'm not going to go through the list of the no-name tokens that the Coinbase assets is looking at and listening here. But, you know, he makes the great point. You could put XRP back on the platform. I think we all know that this lawsuit is a mess, right? Okay, here, look at this. Now, you may not recognize this, but FIS is, in fact, the world's largest processing and payments company, and they have partnered with Fireblocks to allow institutional access to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. This is just another huge step here that confirms for me, as a retail investor in this space, that I'm in the right space at the right time. This is going to be massive with that kind of integration with the world's largest payment processor. But take a look at this. Now, I've got something for you here. Hall of Famer Michael says, anyone believe that? Bank of Japan says that the central bank digital currency, the digital yen, it will not be used to help attain negative interest rates, which for those of you that are not aware means that you would have $100 in digital yen and you wake up tomorrow morning, they impose a 3% negative interest rate and you got 97 digital yen in your wallet. And there was nothing you could do about it. And I think that is the greatest appeal to a central bank, to have a digital currency, to be perfectly honest with you. There's an up and a downside to this digital world, and this is one of them, right? However, what I will say is that when the Bank of Japan comes out and says, look, we won't be doing any negative interest rates. This reminds me when I worked at a company, and I won't name it, but it was bought out. And the first time that the new owners of the company came in, the first thing they said to the room full of employees in that building was, don't worry, no one's getting fired. And I immediately sat up and turned around and looked at the person behind me and said, who said anything about getting fired, right? That's how you knew immediately there was a whole bunch of people getting ready to get fired. So it reminds me of the Peter Sellers Pink Panther when someone in the room said murder. Murder? Who said murder? You know, it's more to come, but I guarantee you one of these central banks is going to exercise that negative interest rate option before all of this is over. Write it down. You can shove it in my face if I'm wrong. The U.S. Federal Reserve announced that it is considering a central bank digital currency. The bank said that it was the right time to consider a central bank digital currency because technology advancements had come far enough for it to improve upon existing systems. I have a feeling that deep down in that little statement that they're interested in being able to exercise negative interest rates too. You know what I say? Hey, let's leave the CBDC wholesale back in, okay? And then you can pull all that negative interest rate with your little fancy central bank buddies, right? Instead of us. That would be nice, right? I doubt it'll happen. Anyway, Marcus Treacher here, a blog series for Nextra, Why Banking Infrastructure is Broken. Who will run the payment rails of the future? And this is a big deal because who does run the payment rails of the future controls the world, ladies and gentlemen. Like it or not, that's the truth. And former Ripple manager Marcus Treacher states, on the incremental level, the industry has been adopting the much higher information standard of ISO 20022. You have to fix the problem of limited and non-standard information. But this evolution has taken an enormous amount of time and is painfully costly to banks with legacy formats like Swift Financial, still the workhorses of the global financial system. And I just very quickly remind you that, obviously Ripple and Stellar are the only two distributed ledger technology companies that sit on the standards body committee for ISO 20022. So it's pretty safe to say that we're smack dab in the middle of this move to this new payment de facto global standard messaging language, right? So look right here. I want to get to the bottom of this. We covered a thread yesterday of a new lawsuit that was suing Jay Clayton and William Hinman upon further looking and more research and consulting with others in the space. It is really looking like a lawsuit that is trying to make a mockery and patronize all of us that have been out here. The verbiage in the lawsuit that is cited there to sue William Hinman and Jay Clayton is very unprofessionally written, and I, after this day, will give it no more attention until I see otherwise. Right here, I think John Deaton says it best. It says, now, why wouldn't this case be taken seriously? Unfortunately, it is written in a manner that attempts to entertain calling Clayton Homer and William Hinman Willie, has a cartoonish ring to it. But maybe Fred, the guy who brought the lawsuit forward, knows the judge and he or she will be receptive. But at the end of the day, here's what I do know. We will get to the bottom of this new case filing. If it proves to be a mockery of John Deaton and all of us 66,000 plus XRP holders' efforts, we will sniff it out immediately. And we've all come too far to be taken lightly. So Fred, it'd be very nice for you to tell us all once again exactly who you are, what your real intentions are, and let's not muddy the water here. Now, looking here at the case itself for the SEC versus Ripple, could we in fact be in settlement talks right now between the SEC and Ripple? Now, I'm certainly not a lawyer, but this is speaking to me right now, and this is Bill Belisarius, I believe it is. Bill, excuse me if I messed your name up, but he has a great thread here where he says, the more I consider it, the more I think there can be a settlement before any summary judgment applications are heard or even filed without waiting for any appeal of the decision of Judge Netburn on the 68 emails and the drafts of the Hinman speech or hearing of any appeal. He goes on to say, now is a sweet spot for settlement for several reasons. He bases his thinking on his experience as a litigation lawyer and nationally accredited mediator and involvement in hundreds of settlements in a different jurisdiction, but I hope the reasoning is sound. He says here, in litigation, I always apply an ongoing risk assessment for clients as evidence and information increasingly comes to hand from an interlocutory process such as discovery. This is a dynamic, not static assessment. He goes on to say another factor in conducting litigation is to increase your client's leverage in negotiations by strengthening its position. In the case on key issues, we can agree that Ripple's lawyers have done a fine job on this score. He goes on to say the risk assessment and leverage informs both when to engage in settlement and on what terms to settle. After the evidence of both parties has been largely gathered and reviewed by the lawyers is a prime time to hold serious settlement talks. He believes we are at that point. And then there are the 68 emails and drafts. The SEC is in a mess on this battle, but it still has leverage. Why? Because it can appeal, it can delay, and because Ripple doesn't know what is in the documents or whether they will ultimately obtain them. The SEC does not need to apply on this issue to Judge Torres to gain more leverage. Right now is a good time, not necessarily the best time, to have settlement discussions before it needs to apply to Judge Torres. At the same time, the risk that the SEC will have to hand over the 68 emails and draft has just dramatically increased with her latest decision and SEC's almost hopeless appeal prospects. Ripple has been very quiet in the last few days and not commented on the latest decision. I wonder why. I'm entertaining the thought that serious settlement talks are already underway. Well, that is really hugely positive if that is in fact taking place. He makes a hell of a point here, and I have to tell you, I tend to agree with where we're at in this window. Now, I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but it is going to be interesting to see if they go through with this appeal, and if they do, it would really cause the SEC to lose even more leverage if Judge Torres aligns with Judge Netburn's decision. Take a look right here. We could be staring down the barrel here, Coins Kid says, of a 298% breakout, which could be taking us to a new all-time high for XRP. Take notice that this is on the 1 month chart. I'm going to give you just a couple minutes here. Take a listen.
For you on XRP to show you what I think is potentially happening right here. I think you've come up impulsively, you're having a correction back to support, you hold the support, you're going to break bullish, okay? And this is basically one big giant bull flag. Now wherever you start to break this level of resistance and start to close outside, look, it's key resistance, okay? And it's key support, and you're really tightening here, you're getting this price compression, something is going to give, basically. This is a nice bullish continuation pattern. It doesn't feel bullish, but you come up and it's essentially a bull flag. You're tightening, you're coming back to support of where you came from, okay? You're retracing and you're getting really tight. Now, does it mean that XRP can't come down and bounce and make a lower low than this, okay, or even a lower low than that? Of course it doesn't. But you can see right now, for me personally, a fantastic area of support, if you do start to see more of a rollover here, could be this trend line, okay? And equally, the monthly 55 EMA as it's coming up on you, okay, to offer you a level of support. Now, the negative thing here for XRP is if you start to lose this, start to come under the 55, you can see you rolling, because look, this is what you did here. You start to roll, you're coming down, okay? So there's some kind of compression that's going on here, and I do think you're going to get an explosive pop out. And with that, if XRP starts to come out like this is going to be really extreme FOMO, and I think that XRP can put in really impulsive moves like it did here, potentially like it did here, and potentially like it did there in the previous bull market as well. Okay, so something's happening. Like I said to you, it's been a very long time. We are coming down, we're getting really tight here, and this is a beautiful bull flag in my opinion. Okay, so the technical target, wherever you do start to break out, this is the level, this is the technical target of a bull flag. If you do start to break out this level of resistance, immediately start to close above that level of resistance on the monthly, which you can see you're starting to lose it as you're conforming to it as resistance, and right now you bounced off it as resistance. So wherever you start to close outside, wherever it is, whenever it is, you're going to be in a breakout target at bare minimum, and that's going to offer an amazing long opportunity wherever you start to break out of at least 298%. And you can see if you do start to do that, you're starting to come up and fill some of the all-time high here, potentially fill some of this wick as well, and this would be an explosive event here for XRP.
That's pretty remarkable. Now, what I find remarkable to complement that is that I have to believe, because I'm a fundamental news guy, right? And I rely on technical analysts like Coins Kid, Dark Defender, and so many other great people at it. And I don't say this in any kind of combative way at all. But, I have to say that hey, what if Bill's right about the idea that they're in settlement talks? And what if the idea that about the time this chart reaches that breakout moment, because it's a month chart at the end of the month or sometime next month, that we reach that point in this where it really hits? And what happens if we get settlement news that would be that fundamental catalyst for an explosive burst in price? I believe that these two things have to work together. I don't think charts just happen off of nothing. happen. I think there had to be some kind of news back here even that kind of really took us to where we had that $1.92 breakout, and somebody could go back and check that if they wanted also. But for me, it feels like, maybe the technical analysis and the fundamental news are really starting to come together here. We'll keep an eye on it. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below. Check out all the links underneath the video. Great products and specials I use each and every day. I'll catch all of you on the next one.